anyone who doesn't know Abdullah, they might not meet him or saw him. Abdullah is a great person. He worked with the community. Abdullah has a great humanity, great heart. He's a great person, and I'm 100% sure he will do well.
I am running for City Council for the South District of Burlington because I have an experience, and that experience is the Muslim American experience.
I think Abdullah is one of the most approachable people that I've ever met, really. And so I think one of the things people should know is that he's the kind of person who is going to be open to listening to anybody. I'm always surprised if I'm walking down the street with Abdullah, how many people around town he knows and can instantly strike up a conversation with. Even folks he doesn't know, he can strike up a conversation with. So I think that that quality really allows him to hear what a lot of different people are thinking and what a lot of different people's concerns are.
And if you ask him about, the platform that he's running on, this is what he says. He talks about equal opportunity, he talks about dignity, he talks about, his values are both, practical in some senses, to do with things like housing. It isn't just, the term affordable housing doesn't even really mean that anymore, but in terms of housing that's available to everyone. But then he also talks about things like dignity and respect, which are that's a much deeper agenda that I think is incredibly important now, given kind of the national shift in focus that we've all experienced, that we're experiencing right now.
So Williams syndrome is a rare genetic disability that makes it hard for you to learn certain things in school, and it's hard to make friendships. I think without a friend like Abdullah, I wouldn't feel so confident to walk downtown by myself and then go to the gym. I know that I could depend on him if I ever needed any help with stuff. And he's really been there for me in times that I've needed him.
Representation is important, and so it would be some restored faith in local governance, a renewed interest in local governance, and a sense that you do have a place at the table and your voice is going to be heard by someone.
But that day when he told me I'm running for city councilor, dude, I was shocked. I'm like, are you kidding? He's like, no, I'm serious. I am running as city councilor. I'm like, wow, brother, I'm really happy to hear this. I'm excited for you. As a community, as a Muslim, as a community, I'm proud to see that a Muslim person who is running in the city council, that mean a lot to me. So I was happy. I'm like, I want to see him right away. I'm like, I gave a hug. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you.
My top issues are dignity. I want people to feel safe and secure in their own person. I want people to feel like government is working on their behalf and is very transparent. Transparency kind of give people a reason to trust a public servant, And the third one should be about housing. The cost of living in Burlington is so high, and the wages are so low. And how you expect someone to live? They got 2-3 jobs, but they can't afford to pay a rent. Burlington has some cultural issue it has to face. I understand this used to be all white community.
You talk about Vermont, and the first thing everyone talks about is what an incredibly white state it is. And if you were to go by your experience of walking about in Burlington itself, you would have a different opinion.
And now to have people from all over the world, with different culture, Nepalese, Burmese, Somalis, Sudanese, West Africans.
The governance structures need to reflect that a little bit more effectively than they do right now. And that's where I see someone like Abdullah just fitting in so beautifully.
Abdullah brings the perspective from his own life experience. Being a new American, he brings this perspective of someone who lives in affordable housing. I think he also brings the perspective of someone who has a fair amount of responsibility in his current job at the district attorney's office. And I think he also brings the perspective of somebody who is really interested in seeing justice across the community.
What's at the core of why Abdullah would make a good city councilor is that he wants the process of city government to be transparent and dignified, and he wants to be someone who is willing to make it, to get it there.
Please support Abdullah. He will really make a change in Burlington, and I think he's the perfect guy to be on city council.
For society to move forward, we need people who can, people that are willing to listen to others with different views, and at the same time find a common ground between the different sections or sects of our communities.
He's the kind of person you want to be in a position like a city council position, because he's authentically representing a sector of our population, and one that I think has been pretty consistently ignored, and right now nationally is under direct fire. I mean, if we want to understand what we say we want to understand as Americans, or I hate to use the word liberal, but if we want to understand people, we've got to start listening and paying better attention than we've been paying. And he wants to speak.